Yeah, it's. I think Buatsi's the one with the potential and the hopes of going on and probably achieving more in the career, but like I say, he has plateaued out a little bit. He has been a bit inactive and didn't exactly set the world alight against Stepien, but Azeez is on a good run of form. He's had a lot of momentum since going to boxer, and I think you know British, European, all back to back, and he's the man in form, and sometimes the man in form's the man who you favour, but I think it's pretty evenly matched. Obviously I spoke to Buddy over the spars, they know how they went, and I believe they were good spars to watch, so it should be a good fight. I think whoever gets it right on the night will come out on top, but I think, like I say, Buatsi's got the potential, the star quality, but Azeez has got the momentum and the form, which you know, is a big thing in boxing.
Really excited for it. Both good guys and great fighters. You know, Buatsi with a little bit more experience. Obviously, definitely as an amateur, but also he's had the Craig Richards fight, and he's boxed some sort of a few more gatekeepers in the light heavyweight division. But Azeez right him off your peril. You know, he's in great form. Really look forward to this one. I think it's it will be. It could be the best of the sort of the light heavyweight scene domestically at the moment. So I'm glad both guys have signed up for it. Can't wait. Hopefully I'll be there covering it ringside.
Azeez is a good fighter, you know, underrated. I was in there against him with Rocky Fielding. I know Rocky was towards the end of his career, but he's very well schooled, and some of the stuff he does is very cute, and it's like old school stuff. He's got a lovely little short jab on the way in. His timing's really good. But Buatsi's huge at the weight, and because of that little bit of needle there now, and there's that rivalry because they know each other. Sometimes ego gets involved, and when you start fighting with your heart rather than your head, then that can land you in trouble sometimes. And we've seen in the past Buatsi has been sort of talked into having a fight with somebody when really we know he should be using his skills and his better assets. I'm pretty certain that Azeez is going to try and do that to him, you know, try and drag him into more of a tough fight to make it more of his fight on the inside. It's whether Buatsi's took those lessons on board in the past where he's been dragged in, and whether he then goes, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm going to stick to what I need to do to win the fight. Great domestic fight. I'm loving it. I've got a feeling Buatsi is going to have learned enough in the past to pull it out, but I think it's going to be razor tight. I think Azeez is going to really, really drag him into a hard fight down the stretch. I think the last sort of third of the fight is going to be really entertaining. I think it'll go to points, and I think Buatsi wins on points, but I think it'll be really close.
So the reason why I think it's seen as a 50-50 because Dan has been in the public eye. We've seen the rise and the success of him over the past year and a half, whereas Buatsi has been a little hasn't. So therefore, this Buatsi, when he was on his rise, you know, the excitement, the attention, the potential, the fans were behind him. And once you lose that momentum of the fans and the belief in the fans, then they move on to the next one. People are fickle. So I can understand on the surface why that is the case, but I actually don't think it is the case on paper. And in reality, I think that actually suits Dan. I think that actually, and as Dan says, I think it just solidifies as far as what Buatsi is concerned that it isn't a 50-50. So, you know, we can only speculate.
Good fight. I think Buatsi, solid favourite. I know he didn't look great last time. But when I say he didn't look great, he wasn't exciting. He didn't show us how good he is. He stayed in first gear, but he still won every second of every round. I don't think he'll be able to stay in first gear against Azeez. I think Azeez's style, his aggression, will make Buatsi fight, and I'm hoping that it brings the best out of Buatsi.
I like both guys. I think the pedigree lies with Buatsi, but I think, you know, the activity and the resilience lies with And that's not to say that Buatsi's not resilient. I just think like when Azeez's mindset, he's got that CBS mindset where, you know, it's like, well, you're not destined for great things. Like, oh, let me show them, let me prove it. And I think, you know, that is that's a dangerous man to go up against. So I do think Buatsi's going to come through it. I don't think it will be one-sided.
Well, no, it doesn't surprise me because, again, Azeez has been on a roll, and he's got a couple of titles, European title, I believe, and the British title. Not to say that Josh couldn't have won either one of them himself if we'd have took that path. So he's on a roll and things like that. And I think when you really stop and think about it, it makes sense to make it a 50-50 fight. That draws the fans in, that draws the media in, and they expect to see a good fight regardless of what I feel like the odds should be or what the odds, or Azeez should feel like the odds should be. So it makes sense to say it's a 50-50 fight. They gave Charlo a chance to beat Canelo, you know, so that's always part of boxing. I understand that. And, you know, I can ride with it, I can settle with it, but it doesn't matter what I think. Josh still has to do the job on that night. Well, I usually take it round by round. I can't go over the whole complete session that's happening. It's a round by round thing with me. I'm sure he'll be focused and locked in. He has to be if he wants to accomplish his goals. So I'm not worried about that. That's what the training sessions are for. That's what the motivational sessions are for, to get him in the right frame of mind that I will not accept anything less than victory. And as long as he has that, we can work with each other round after round.
What a mouth-watering encounter between two supreme athletes, Dan Azeez. I would say to Dan, you know, who he reminds me is like a modern-day Marvin Hagler. That's how he's built and that's how he boxes. And against an Olympian in the name of Joshua Buatsi, an unbeaten fighter. I believe Dan Azeez is unbeaten also, right? Yeah, he's unbeaten. And I mean, what a mouth-watering prospect to be able to. I'm looking forward to that. Again, very hard to call. Yeah, whoever performs on the night, in my opinion, and boxes as close as possible to the game plan they've devised with their individual coaches, wins the fight. Very hard to call, honestly. I couldn't call that one. Like I said, if school turns up on the night and implements a high percentage of what they've rehearsed, will be successful.
Yeah, well, Buatsi, Azeez. Listen, it's an interesting fight. It's an interesting fight, very interesting fight. But I definitely favour Buatsi. I think he's got a tool to beat him. But it's all in the night, isn't it? Yeah, it's all in the night. But he's been out a while, Buatsi too. So, you know, we'll see what the deal is.
Oh, brilliant fight, lovely fight. You're gonna hear this a lot, but throwback fight, two sort of throwback styles. Not too much. I was gonna say not too much trash talk, but I can sense the London rivalry between them. You know, that little press conference. The spite, even though they're friends, the spite is there. You're gonna ask me for a prediction, aren't you? Very good fight. God, I've got to stick with my man. I've got to stick with Buatsi. I've got to. I just think he can put it out of the bag, but I think it's a tough fight. I'm expecting him to box the best he's boxed yet. And when I say that, I don't think it. As much as people say, oh, it's going to be an entertainment barnstormer, it could be. But I think for Josh to win this fight, he needs to make it anything but a barnstormer. I think he needs to use his boxing skill. But Dan Azeez as well, another pro that I really admire, and I think he's a great fighter, a great man. So looking forward to it.
I'm preparing to fight a good fighter. Yeah, not a friend. No, I'm preparing to fight a good fighter. Of course, it's no secret that Dan is someone that I've known for years, I've trained with for years. But I'm preparing to fight a good fighter. So I don't sit at camp and think, oh, I'm preparing to fight a friend of mine. Nah, I'm fighting someone that wants to win, someone that's hungry, a good fighter in Dan Azeez. It just happens to be someone that I know.
Yeah, it means a lot. You know, it's the next stage in my career. I'm fighting in front of so many people that I know. It's against someone I'm very familiar with, a mate. And yeah, solidifies my whole come up, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? I've come up step by step, title after title, and now this is just that next stage now to enter what I would say the elites. So yeah, it's been a journey. The journey it's nowhere near ending, and this is just a pivotal point in my career that I need to get over. I don't really care, man. As long as I win, I'll be honest with you. But even with the whole momentum thing, that's what's good for me. There's fighters out there that can box once a year and still, come out like they've been boxing every 6 weeks. For me, it's important for me to stay busy, stay active, because that's how I learn. I didn't have no crazy amateur background, so I'm not learning on a job, but every day I'm in that ring, it just adds to my experience. So it's very important I'm active.